Just mic test here, guys. Let me know if you guys can hear me. All right, cool. Wasn't sure if that was working or not. All right, I'll just re-begin from start over from this mark. Good morning, everybody. It is now 8:06 Central Standard Time on November 14th, 2018. This is a reminder to follow your rules and trade your plan. Let's get into the Major League Trading morning trade plan. Before the bell, for economic news, 4:30 a.m. we had grade-breaking CPI. At 7 a.m. we had NBA mortgage applications, and at 8:30 consumer price index. After the bell, 10 a.m. East Coast time, Vice Chairman Randall Quarles will be speaking. At 4:30 we're going to have the API crude oil stock, and at 6 p.m. on the futures open, Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking. The trend bias for the prior day: ES bearish, Nasdaq neutral, Dow bearish, Russell bearish. Overnight biases neutral across the board in all four indexes. The shorter term time frame, 5 to 10 days, neutral in all four indexes, but on the midterm time frame we were bearish ES, Nasdaq, neutral in the Dow, and bearish on the Russell. On the longer term time frame we remain bearish all four indexes. For our previous day's summary in the S&P 500, I will pull that up here. The bell-to-bell high of the prior day, 27.5575. The bell-to-bell low coming in at 27.14.5. The settlement was 27.27.5. Value area high up at 27.43.75. The point of control down at 27.22.5. Right above that, value area low 27.22.75. European closed 27.48, and the volume on the session was 2 million contracts. Overnight high 27.43.75. Overnight low 27.11. Floor trader pivot point support and resistance levels: R4A 28.10, R3 27.92, R2 27.73.75, R1 27.50.75. The pivot point for the day, 27.32.5. S1 27.09.5. S2 26.91.25. S3 26.68.25, and S4A 26.45. For our 10-day range analysis, the prior day at a 41.25 point range for the bell-to-bell trading session. The entire session 41.25 as well. The overnight came in at 31.25, and first hour was 22.5. Pretty much range expansion on every time frame that we track. For the index strength percentage change, where'd it go? There you are. S&P closed pretty much even on the day. Dow up, Nasdaq up 0.26%, Dow down 0.2%, and same with the Russell. So not a very big percentage change on the prior day. The Nasdaq was the strongest market, and Dow and Russell were the weakest. But over the last 5 days, that's, we can draw more information from that. Nasdaq's down 2.3%, Russell's down 2.7%. Only market positive the prior day has been the Nasdaq. Let's take a look here at these markets. We do have, let's see, close a couple things out here. Now I actually think this oil, so I want to start off with oil just because that move was absolutely massive on the prior day, and talk about what we had here. I do think the oil downtrend is over. I'm going to go ahead and say that. And I'll show you guys why we have a sequence break. Obviously yesterday, extreme move to the downside. Last night's video, we had two levels here, guys, that we were looking at for continuation of shorts. The anchor was 56.83 to low. The first test of 56.80 was last night's trade from the trade plan. Right there, we trade 56.80 and we sold off. That low is like 55.14. So huge move off of that level, 50 ticks plus. Does not necessarily mean we hit, obviously we didn't hit profit targets, but there's a 50 tick move off that resistance. It's plenty enough. I said if we broke that 55.80 resistance, we were going to trade up into this anchor. That's, both of those have happened so far. All right. That was going to be 56.50 traded, and we sold all the way down 100 ticks. So, you know, between those two resistance levels, there was 150 ticks to be had, and you know, we're up. Those are two shorts that provided 150 ticks, and we're up 1.5%. So both of those fantastic entries, very technical. Now, one of the things you can begin to look for is as soon as we broke this sequence to the upside, the low from the prior day to high has held. So I'm going into today just drawing this up, and then we have a leg start as well. Right here, this should act as support on any retest. This should act as support on any retest. If we complete this profit target, we'll probably squeeze all the way up into that negative 61, 56, 57, and that's going to line up where the top side leg start began. If we do trade to the upside, I'm still expecting us to get rejected here. Okay, would still expect us to get rejected from there. And we would pull, my assumption is we will rally into the full halfway back short for the week right now. That is 58.02. 58.07 is the prior low of the year. So think about that. We're going to have the prior low of the year trade higher in a halfway back short for the week. Those are going to be my resistance levels to the upside. And I do have a long bias here in oil for the first time. Yesterday, I had completely warned against taking any longs. And that was the most vicious move down anybody's seen in oil. If you want to see another vicious move, I will go over it later, guys. Nat gas, I think at one point in the overnight session, was up 15%. It's a huge move for a futures contract. That means people are absolutely getting spanked. Let's move on to gold. We'll get the commodities out of the way here. Last night's trade plan video, we had a support level at the lower end of the range here. I talked about a potential double bottom sequence coming into play based on the rally that we had yesterday, Tuesday. We already traded that level once here in the overnight session. We rallied from our support zone, which was like this 1198 all the way up into 1202. So roughly a 4-point move. That's a decent move in gold, 4 points. Now we're having a second test here. I'm going to see if this continues to hold. If we can break above these swing highs, this top side resistance level we definitely want to pay attention to. If we can start breaking above 1204, 1205, then I'll be more interested in buying pullbacks. I'm not interested in buying pullbacks. I'm only interested in potential retests of support, which at this point we've had two. So I'm not interested in chasing the move up just yet. If we do get above 1204, there'll be a possible move that we can aggressively chase. But other than that, even if we break above, guys, I have this heavy resistance at this 1208.7 that I'm waiting for. That's a favorite trade of mine here. So 1208.7, we'll see if we get that today. I'll be looking for that in gold. Moving on to the S&P 500 from last night's video, our support levels 27.10.5. We traded 27.11, a 2-tick front run, very standard. As a reminder, we've been talking about this level for 3 days now, so that's no surprise to anybody who listens and pays attention and takes notes. This huge support level, guys, halfway back from the low of October 29th to high, very significant. And I'm basically, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up this. We're going to open right at our resistance levels that we've had from the prior day. I'm not interested in chasing this move higher here. What I do want to mark up and be aware of is number one, the full halfway back short, where that level would exist, and that is going to be at 27.63 half. So I'm going to mark that up, 27.63 half for resistance here, and I'm going to go ahead and set an alert on that level. We want to be careful chasing anything above that. If we get a heavy short squeeze and start getting bid above 27.63 half, then I don't really have, I believe we'll be moving into that gap fill. So let me just go ahead and, one of the things I'm going to do here is remove the extended session and show you guys. Now these draws are a little noisy, but we basically have an unfilled gap. Actually, you know what? I think that did fill. It came very close to filling. It didn't quite fill on Monday, but we have an unfilled gap of 27.79. So if we did squeeze above 27.63, I would have no resistance for 16 points. If we get a lot of strength above that, I would look for a move up into that zone, 27.79. That would be my next resistance area in between here, where I would expect a reversal. I would also respect a second test of 27.10.5 if we get that here today. We did trade it during the overnight session, but we have not traded it during the RTH session, so I would love to see that trade. First thing I'm going to look for this morning is either a move up into the resistance or a retest of lows here. So we are going to be gapping up. There's a potential that that gap fill becomes support. So I'm going to wait till the market opens here. I'll have to reassess the situation of that gap. Right now will be 27.2875. I'll have to look at how that lines up once we open, because I'm going to turn the extended session off. So I don't have that information yet. I will at the open. But right now, just paying attention to the major support levels at 27.10.5 and the major resistance level at 27.63.5. And then if we get through that, like I said, 27.79s. Moving on to the Russell, guys. This was my go-to trade from last night's trade plan. I talked about if we traded into 15.10.5, how we were going to have a profit target completion. It was a previous leg start, so it was a leg start support as well as the 61.8. Now, the one thing that we actually did here is we tagged that 61.8. We tagged that 61.8. We broke through it. That support level at 510 is, I'm going to leave it there until it breaks. Now, one thing we can already say is, so we had the high of the week to low trade to target. This next move right here is very close to breaking. It hasn't broken yet, but I would imagine it'll break as soon as the market opens. It looks like it's about to pierce. Because we have pierced that 61.8, we now have a valid long draw from the overnight low to high here in the Russell. So the first support I would look at is this 1516.9, call it 1517. Obviously that level will need to be moved up as the market moves higher, which it's already doing. Continue to watch for that 50% retracement from the overnight low in the Russell. And then I want to be aware of, because we broke that 61.8, the full halfway back short. The full halfway back short from the high, getting alerts coming up, from the high of Thursday last week to low, that level we need to be aware of. Put it right here. And then the leg start zone right here. This is also this 1536, beginning of the move down here. So ideally, I'd like to see a pullback into that support level for the Russell. All right, guys, moving on now to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has failed to hit its profit target. Okay, NASDAQ had a fantastic short yesterday. What I want to look for is the full halfway back short from Thursday's high of last week to low. This was on the market yesterday, or on the trade plan yesterday, where that level is now getting moved down. It's 7,004. Okay, so that's going to come into play here. 7,004. Don't need that. Don't need that. Now the 69.52 level here, I am not going to be interested in a second test. So 67.52, I'm not interested in a second test. So I am going to remove that red zone. What I would like to see is it's going to be something similar. There's going to be a setup similar in the NASDAQ than the Russell, what I want to see first this morning is a break above really this 69.10 area. So I want to see a bid off the open, and then ideally the low from the overnight session to high. Say if we rally all the way up, to that 7,004, okay, and this is like kind of moving forward. That is a 100-point rally from here, which in the NASDAQ right now happens in half a day. What I would like to do, if say we rally up there, is buy that next pullback at 68.89. Now that's going to take a while to set up, so I'm really forward looking with this setup, but I'd like to see, I need to get a drawing tool here, but I'd like to see a move higher into resistance and then look for a potential pullback. Otherwise, this higher time frame support level, guys, this 68.61 that was in play really on Monday, it was in play yesterday on Tuesday, we closed really right below it. This is going to be just a general area of daily support that I believe we will close above, so I will mark that up here. I do think, and I heard Perry say it, it's bulls to hold here today. Bears really couldn't get a continuation. We've held some significant support levels that we anticipated, so bulls need to step in and do that same thing here again today. And then one of the things that we could see happen, because we had that Jerome Powell speech right as the futures markets open, you could see either an aggressive sell-off or an aggressive bid right as futures open tonight at 6 o'clock East Coast time. So that is something to keep in mind. We'll have to see how the market closes. Based on the way it closes is how I'm going to anticipate the move. And then really whatever he says could potentially move the market the rest of the week. Now the Dow here is the strongest market in my opinion. From like, I think we're gonna have the better reaction here. So this halfway back long in the Dow, guys, and something to kind of talk about evidence. So this halfway back long in the Dow, we talked about the leg start, the halfway back, there was a profit target completion. This is not going to hold. I think we will get above the prior day's low here in the Dow, and I think we will continue to rally from that point. So this resistance level in the Dow, I'm going to completely remove. If we rally here above this zone in the Dow, if we can really begin to clear this zone, and I'm just going to draw it up with a gray box, it's not a level I want to take, then to me, this is just empty space till we really get all the way back to here. Okay? So that is just going to be empty space until we get above here. So one of the things I would look for is if the Dow can start peeking through that 25,570 level, all pullbacks, I will be looking for a bigger move up. So that's basically a 300 point, what I would consider pocket of air, because there's just not much here, not much resistance. We crack straight down. So that is really something I'm going to be looking for here today. At this point in time, I don't have a long entry level. I want to see how the market plays out. If we are going to aggressively bid, we are going to bid in this extension. So if you want to talk about an aggressive move, if we hold this 61.8, stay above 25,392, we're going to bid. We're going to bid in the morning up into 25,540. So if we can hold here, we'll bid up there. That'll be like roughly a 100-point move, a little less than that from where we're currently trading. That's what I have for the Dow. Let's see here. Yep, that's all I got for this morning, guys. I will talk about a couple of currencies here, guys. This euro setting up in a halfway back long. Talked about this yesterday. We're going to target a 113.47. The euro USD is set up in a long. All of the USD pairs have kind of turned here, and then I'm really watching just that euro USD. It's just been the cleanest reversal so far. So watching this euro USD for a move up into 113.47 to 113.53 is going to be the halfway back short from the high. So we're going to have a target lineup to the long side at 113.47, the halfway back short from last week's highs. And then we also just have a general area of consolidation. So this 113.53 zone is a level I'm going to be looking for us to rally up into and then fade from. With that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, drop a comment if you're serious about learning to trade. Check out any of our courses, especially our new MLT Pro Trader funded course. We have our first funded trader here, Nate, getting funded with $50,000 this week. So it's awesome to be able to help people achieve those goals. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll see you guys in the Discord. Everyone have a great day. Take care.